Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Knicks-Verse post-game show, Game 3 of... Oh, wait. I need this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Knicks-Verse post-game show. I'm so excited, so hyped. I forgot the mic. But cheers to everybody out there in Knicks land, the Knicks Nation. Beautiful. The New York Knicks took care of business in Game 3, Foxy.
I'm ecstatic. I am so happy, man. We're in the driver's seat.
We are in the driver's seat. We are. And I felt like we were in the driver's seat all along when we took that Game 1. But Game 2 was such a disappointment in the way it actually played itself out. But, you know, the NBA, I've seen this happen in playoffs throughout my entire life. I remember watching the Lakers and Celtics when I was, young, a kid. And, you'd have like about 4 games where they were close. You know, they'd beat 6 games or 7-game series. And there'd be one game where it was just a total blowout. And you think, oh, wow, Lakers are going to fucking take this game. Or vice versa. Celtics would blow the Lakers out. And it didn't necessarily carry over. Now, those are, of course, different quality teams. But in the playoffs, it's weird. It's like the vibe matters, and it matters especially when it comes to role players. Role players, they like what do they call it? Like in bicycling, when you're behind the leader, grafting. Is that right? Drafting. You're drafting behind. And that's the same. You need that to minimize the resistance. Mm-hmm. You need the guy out in front. He's the one battling. He's the one dealing with the elements, dealing with the wind and all the shit. And then the rest of the team is behind him or her, and they benefit from it. They have an easier ride. And this is what happened here in the playoffs. And the guy who stepped up, RJ Barrett. This is the RJ Barrett, the very first RJ Barrett post-game win we have ever seen.
Yep.
But before we get into it, let me just welcome everybody. Welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George. We got Stephen Fox of Sports Talk with the Fox and Sports Vibes TV, my good friend, one of the best analysts around. We are so hyped from this win. We are soaring high above. We're like the spy camera ship. We're just taking photos. We are ecstatic right now.
I'm a Chinese balloon.
Yeah, there's a Chinese balloon in front of us. That thing's going down. We're taking it down. If this is your first time here, please subscribe, turn on the notification bell, because occasionally I do go live, especially after a tremendous, resounding win like this. This is the playoffs, guys. We got to celebrate these wins. We got to celebrate this, own this. This was huge. This was a huge moment tonight. And I have a feeling it's going to carry over, Foxy.
Me too. Everyone talked about their adjustments, Cleveland. I don't know what adjustments they're going to do now, man. We came out. They shot 21% from 3, 16 assists, 20 turnovers. Hey, one of my favorite stats is we're number 1 in the playoffs. We had 14 steals tonight, folks. We're number 1 in the playoffs in steals.
That's
team ranking, and that's not one of our identities. So
no, it's not. It's not.
So it's fantastic. I love that.
Here, let's go to the. Let's go look at the team stats. Let's look at that right here. Here we go. Here are the team stats. I threw this together really fast, guys. I wanted to get live. Shout out to Lex the Destroyer, the best mod around. You
got that right.
Oh, man, he's awesome. Thank you so much for holding it down. He says Knicks in 5. Ooh, he's feeling it. Hey, I'm feeling that as well, but don't want to get too cray. But 5 sounds great. I think it's going to be 6. I think we're going to pull it off on Sunday. Take control, and then we'll probably drop Game 5, which is in Cleveland. Then we come back to the Garden for Game 6, and we'll close it out at the Garden. That's what I'm hoping for. If it's 5, great. Even better. Who do we got in the house? We got. You want to shout anybody out, Foxy?
you were mentioned Lex the Destroyer, my bud. I saw L. Marshall from day one. I know him a long time. My half brother Kareem Grant, Gideon, G Money's in there. So just wanted to say hi to everyone. And you, who would you like to shout out?
We got Chris Lopez in the house. What's up, Chris? Good to see you. We got Samuel Pagan. We got KD. No for you. I never know how to say
it's
the
easy
last
for
part.
you to
You got to
say.
tell me how. You got to send me a message on how to pronounce the last part, KD. John Musgrove, Splash 1976. Good to see you, brother. Thanks for coming, for joining us for the half game. Eddie Marr, we did a surprise half game live, just to recap it. And I might do it on Sunday as well, if it's possible. We've got Drew Reviews Music. What's up? Big Ray Hernandez. Let's go. Let's go. Excellent. Excellent. I want to show his comments here. I love it. I love the energy, the vibe of it. Here it is. Here it is. There it is. Let's go. Excellent team effort tonight. Garland's mouth and game were shut down. RJ Barrett attacking and Hart defending, and Jalen taking over. All music to my eyes. LOL. Beautifully said.
Yep.
Beautifully said. He posts some awesome stuff on Twitter, like these cool, like they're kind of funny. They're almost like memes. I love it. I love it. I don't know if you've ever seen them, but they're awesome. So let's check it out. The New York Knicks. Foxy, I'll let you take this. The significance of this. The New York Knicks held the Cleveland Cavaliers to how many points?
The first team this season that's been held under 80 points. 79 points.
79. Under 80. First time.
And you almost nailed it at halftime. You said 88, and I thought, nah, they're Garland and Mitchell, they have to put up more with that. Man, I need you to pick some lottery numbers for me because you were there, my friend.
It was a lot of it was body posture, Foxy. That's what I was reading. Obviously I look at the game, I look at the stuff, I look at what they're doing, the execution, everything. But at this level, so much is up here. It's all up here anyway, in general, usually even during the regular season, but in the playoffs, even more so. Which we think usually, like the best player, the best athlete will win eventually. Not always true in the NBA. It's the one that has the strongest will to win. And you could see it in these Knicks. They did not want to disappoint us. They didn't want to disappoint themselves, their family, their friends, their coaches, and the coaches as well. They didn't want to disappoint their family first, but they didn't want to disappoint that Knicks crowd that was there. If anybody was there, shout out to you guys. You were the loudest crowd.
Wow. I could feel it in my house through the TV. It was like, wow, man, let's, feel that energy.
It's fantastic. It was fantastic. Here, let's look at some of the team stats here. So the Knicks won by 20. They didn't even crack the century mark. We could have if we didn't empty our bench. The Cleveland Cavaliers ended up shooting under 39%, and we actually stepped it up in that second half, Foxy. I'm not sure exactly the split yet. I'm waiting for this to refresh here so I can show you guys the split between the first half and the second half, or at least we'll talk about it. But if you know it off the top of your head, that'd be great to share. Oh, here, I got it now. So in the first half, the Knicks, of course, then what a tease. Oh, here. In the second half, the Knicks shot 52.6%. 6 of 14 from the three-point line. That's almost 43%. It's still the free throws. We got to hit those. We only hit 2 out of 3 in general, 8 of 12. But we only committed 7 turnovers, Foxy. Remember we said 7 and 7? 14. It's a little. I'd like to see that a little bit less, but 14. I'll take 14 turnovers. I'll take that, especially when you consider that CAVS committed 8 turnovers in the second half for a total of 21 turnovers. And we were able, the New York Knicks were a plus 20 in points off turnovers. We scored 28 over their 8 off of the turnovers. So even though even though they only committed 7 more turnovers, we were able to score 20 more points off of those additional 7 turnovers. That is the mark of a very good team. Very good team. Points in the paint. We won that battle 56-48. Fouls. We kept our fouls a decent amount, 17, but they only committed 18, so it wasn't like one of those kind of games. And I honestly didn't really notice any moments. I don't know, maybe you did in terms of the foul calling. I didn't really notice any like some of the stuff we had been seeing before.
It felt consistent on both sides of the floor, so I'm cool like that. As long as you call it both ways, then I'm down. But like you said, they attempted 17, and we attempted 18.
There you go. Assists. We had 5 more assists than the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight, 21-16. Interestingly, they ended up with 2 more offensive rebounds than we did, 13-11. But on the defensive boards, we owned it, and we ended up in its totality a +3 in rebounds, 45-42. And I heard during the broadcast, if I remember it correctly, the team that has won the rebounding battle has won, what was it, like 14 of the 16 games or something like that. Did you hear that stat?
No, I did not.
Yeah, well, it was like the team that had won the rebounding battle had lost only twice in the playoffs.
Oh,
that's what I remember, but I don't remember the amount that they'd won. So that is a key stat, and that's where we own. We usually own. We own that, and we did tonight. Mitch Robinson, talk to me about Mitch.
Well, the key stat that continues for us is we're now 34-3 when we hold our opponents under 110 points. So that's the metric, man. If we hold, and for the host series, I'll tell you right now, I got everything up to date. For the they're averaging 94 points. So for 3 games now.
Wow.
So that's really trending in our favor to win this, man.
And look at Mitch, about almost 31 minutes, 7 points, plus 19 for Mitch. Only 7 rebounds, but 5 of them were offensive.
Big ones too.
Yeah. 2 steals, 2 blocks, and 3 dimes for Mr. Mitchell Blockness Monster.
And there were other shots that don't show up in the box score that he impacted, whether it was Garland and a few others.
Yeah. There is some negative stuff. Unfortunately, Quentin Grimes did not play at all in the second half because of a
shoulder contusion.
Shoulder contusion. Shoulders are weird. Let's see. He may not be ready to go by Sunday, but we won't know for sure. But that's the beauty of having depth, of being a deep team. Josh Hart can step into that starting lineup. I wouldn't start quickly instead of a Hart for Grimes.
The energy he gives us off the bench.
Yep. And also he runs that second unit when he's out there.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of co-captains it with the RJ when RJ's out there and feeling it. And let's talk about Mr. Barrett. Rowan,
Yeah.
Shout out to you, bro. Shout out to you. There hasn't been a Knick player that has received, and I'm not going to say it's not rightly so, because he has not delivered. This was a rough season for him, in terms of efficiency. But the beauty about him is he's just attack. He believes in himself, and today it rewarded him and it rewarded us. 30 minutes, 45 seconds. He shot 66.7%, hit 50% of his 3-point shots, 3 of 6, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, got a steal, and he played some good defense. He used his length, finally, finished with 19 points. He would have been the high scorer if Mr. Jalen Brunson didn't finally catch fire in that second half.
Yo,
he shot 6 of 8 in that second half.
Hey, I said it on last Sunday's show that I was off a game, but RJ's too good of a player, I knew he had to come out of it. I'm glad he went to the hole, and like you said, he shot 50% from 3. Yeah, and I like that he took only 6 shots. I don't like when they get crazy from three, but he took it to the hole, and he did not make it to the foul line for the whole game, which is shocking.
Yes, it is, and partly I put that on the refs because I definitely, for sure, in the first half there were at least 2 or 3
Yep.
drives he should have gotten foul calls. Second half, I can't say. I didn't really notice any calls that he didn't get that he should have that he didn't get that he should have gotten. I didn't notice that, and I think partly it's just the Cavs they're trying to play smart defense. If the perimeter player who's guarding RJ and then the secondary player who's guarding RJ can't stop him, the bigs are not going to commit the foul. They're going to wait and see if they can block his shot, but they're not going to like body him up and foul him. It was an interesting decision. Not sure about whether that. What do you think about that dynamic? Do you think that's something that the Cavs should look at for the next game, or
Well,
is it just?
it was a couple of things, whether it was him or Josh. People, with their number one in offensive, defensive rating and number one in defense. A couple guys went coast to coast on him, man. And RJ went up with the right hand and scored. So cheers, my friend. Yeah. Hey, Tibbs. Shout out to him. He's been saying all along, it's imperative that he's aggressive, and when they converge on him, that he sprays it out. So yeah, and playing in defense. Hey, you talk about, and I love when you talk about the mental aspect of the game. This is, maybe a kickstart for him for the rest of this playoff series and hopefully the rest of his career. That once you win a series and stuff like that, it takes a lot of pressure off.
I hadn't thought about it that way, but now that you say it, yes, it does work that way. Confidence is the single most important ingredient. Of course, you have to have a certain amount of talent and ability to even get in the discussion, but it comes down to confidence, and he has a lot of that. But then sometimes it could fail you because you could be too overconfident. You take shots you shouldn't take. You make moves you shouldn't make. Well, the type of game that RJ had tonight was pretty close to perfect. Not in terms of perfect, in terms of didn't make any mistakes, but in terms of how he needs to approach every single playoff game. And I'm hoping you're right, Foxy. It's a great point you pointed out. He may have popped his cherry here. Once, and then you're like, wow, that felt good. It hurt a little, but it felt good. And then you're like, yeah, I want to do that again. And if he just stays in this pocket, now they're going to try and push him out. They're going to try to make him work more and think a little more. But he has the ability to redirect the pass or the play when he's not like locked into that myopic, I'm driving now.
He's one of the few that gets Mitch into the game with his lobs and stuff. So yeah, I love. Yeah, I just want him building on this. It's a good thing. I love guys that have the whole team collectively. I like teams with short memories. That's a good team. That hey, Atlanta beat Boston tonight. It happens in the playoffs, folks. So put that game in the past, last game for the Knicks, and we won tonight, and just we're on our home court. And hey, I was talking to my nephew during the game, and Donovan had this weird look, and usually he has this killer look on his eye. He still scored 22, but 2 for 8 from 3. He wasn't killer tonight.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I saw that look too.
He looked a little scared. Or intimidated by that energy of New York.
Yeah. But it was, I think it might have been a little more than that even. Remember, this could have been him.
Yeah, he wanted to be here the worst
could have
way
been
with his
him.
family.
It could have been him instead of RJ wearing that uniform tonight.
Yep.
And I think there was that moment. If the moment that I felt that you're talking about, it was like this close-up shot of him, and if it was the same moment, and I just felt, and he had this look on his face, and he was looking around the arena, looking around the arena, and it was kind of like, yeah, I missed out on this. I missed out on this vibe. Because Cleveland, I'm sure it's, it's a a cool place to play and whatever, but there's levels to things in life, and there is nothing like playing in front of the MSG crowd. There's nothing like that. There's nothing like being a Knick, by the way.
Especially if this is where you're from.
And exactly. So I think that like suddenly all those things hit him at that moment on the court, and that's when you know a guy is not locked into the game. He got caught up in watching the crowd and just absorbing it all, and I think he just felt at one moment he was like, we're not going to win this game, but you know what? He's a champ. He's not a champion, but he has that championship type of mentality. He's like, we got Sunday. I'm going to come out on Sunday. I expect him to come out on Sunday and deliver a big game.
Yeah, no doubt. But he also got cooked on defense, man.
Brunson gets. I mean, that's the thing. These two guys, they get cooked on defense, so that's why they have to deliver on offense. They have to, and so it's nice to see that Jalen finally caught fire, and he had a tremendous second half. 17 minutes, 13 points in the second half, 6 of 8. Beautiful, 3 assists.
Couple beautiful dimes, man.
Yeah. Oh man, yes, he was finally.
Yeah.
Donovan shot 9 of 19. Actually, let's get to their stat here. We'll look at the Cleveland stats. Here we go. LeVert caught fire in that second half, man. He did nothing in the first half. In the first half, what did he shoot in the first half? He was like nothing. He was like 0 for 6 or something. He finished 7 of 17, but that was all in the second half. 7 of 11. He shot 63.6% in the second half, 42.9%, almost 43% there. 17 points delivered, but yet he was still a -8.
Yeah, because I was going to say for the whole game is -21. He was getting cooked on defense, though.
yeah, that was the second half. It was just a -8. Yeah. The whole game was a -21. Yeah, I honestly, I mean, unless the Cavs have a great shooting game, or like a not necessarily great, but like a really good, like a good shooting game, I just don't see how they can win a game against these Knicks. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I think that if we shoot the way, like I said, not shooting crazy, just shooting how we average during the season, we're going to beat them.
Yeah. Whew! New York Knicks won!
Oh.
Yeah! We held the Cleveland Cavaliers to under 80 points.
Oh.
How many times has that happened in the NBA this season, Foxy?
The first time this season.
The first time.
In the playoffs, where it counts, everything counts, and they're they were walking on in cloud after that victory, and they come in here, got whooped.
We got some chats here. They got whooped. We got over 160 in the chat. It's awesome. Let's celebrate this victory. Hit that thumbs up for us, guys. Really appreciate that, and share this video. Share it right now. Just share it on Twitter, share it wherever. Whoever's a Knicks fan, get them on board. This is the night to celebrate Friday night at the Garden. And the Knicks came away with a playoff win. The first playoff win in 2 years since Game 2. Since Game 2 of the 2021 playoffs against the Hawks. Because we lost Game 5. Remember how painful that was?
Let's go forward. I don't want to even go back there.
That's why this feels so significant.
It feels significant. Yeah, it's significant also that we could win with Randall having an off game and Grimes only scoring 2 points. So it goes back to your thing, always talking about the depth, how that depth is so dangerous, and especially in playoffs.
It's funny, like when I kept talking about the Knicks, I've been talking about the Knicks depth all season, Fox.
You have.
People have been slamming me. Especially usually it's a
differentiator. I don't know how they can slam. Oh, okay.
Not Knicks fans, but when I post video, I get fans from the opponents. And they're like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Because they obviously don't watch the Knicks obviously the way we do, but I watch their team. And I've watched the Cavs. they've had some nice wins. They've had some impressive wins. They finished fourth. That wasn't an illusion. But remember, we finished fourth 2 years ago, and we were shown the door by the Hawks. We were shown the door by a team that executed their offense and defense better than we did. Now we are that team. The tables have turned. Now it's up to JB Bickerstaff and the Cavaliers themselves to look in the mirror and try to figure out what they can do to win this game, because we're not a great shooting team. We're not even a good shooting team, but we're not a bad shooting team.
Exactly.
Yeah. But we also hustle, and we get lots of second chance opportunities, lots of them. So when we get that kind of evens the playing score. Here we go. Second chance points. Even though in this game it wasn't as dramatic as game one, Knicks 14-11 in second chance points. Points in the paint. We talked about this before. 56-48. Fast break points. Look at that one. That I love to see. 15-7 plus 8 right there.
I also think that's a big thing when Josh Hart's in there. He moves that ball up on those fast breaks. When he gets that rebound or somebody gives it to him. So yeah, you were just saying, and I did the math on the fly just now. Bench 39-14.
Beautiful. And we owned them in the first game as well. I can't remember how it turned on.
It was very similar, I think.
Yeah. We got a super chat. Thank you so much, brother.
Yeah, my boy, buzzer beater, my brother.
Buzzer beater. How was RJ able to be so hot tonight? Go Knicks. Foxy, I'll let you answer that first.
Just being aggressive, more aggressive than he was previous games, and and he hit his shot. Like we said, he's too good to keep missing. Even though through 3 games right now he's shooting 28.6 from 3, we knew that he's too good at statistics has to come. It comes to a point where you're like, he's going to start hitting, and I thought that he was going to do it last game, but I'm glad he did it this game. And I like we just said, I think it's going to be consistent from this point on.
Yeah,
he got that off his back.
When he hit that first 3, I think that really kind of opened things up. And it also, a lot of it was the trust from his teammates. Once he hit that shot, that made a big difference. But to me, the main reason, and we talked about this in the halftime show, was when he made the turn, when he was able to turn the corner, when he was finally turning the corner, by the time he turned it, he was so deep into the paint that the defense had to scramble to adjust, and he was like already there, and that's why he was able to finish. In the previous games, when he would turn the corner, he didn't turn it with enough conviction, and he would almost flare out, so he would take himself further away from the basket than he needed to be, or he would encounter congestion. And also, the Cavs were kind of playing a little dirty in that game too, just to be honest. They were playing a little dirty. Kind of pulling on jerseys, holding on arms, and they didn't get those
They were
calls.
playing for their life. They were down 1-0.
Exactly. So I'm happy, and this is a very important point. And I hope if anyone talking to Randall or knows Randall, or if Julius, if you're watching this, take a page out of RJ's playbook tonight of what happened with him. Believe in your ability to beat your guy off the dribble. Believe in it. But if you encounter congestion, quickly get that ball out from there. It might come back to you. Don't worry about it, because remember, if you encounter congestion and you find the open guy, he's gonna bury that jumper. That congestion the next time around is gonna be a little softer, and then the next time around even softer. And that's what RJ was able to do tonight. And Julius, if we have the two of you doing that, I just don't see how the Cavs can outscore this team.
I noticed something. I stopped, rewound on a couple of threes he's made. I think he made a slight adjustment on his shooting form, his elbow position.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched it, stopped it, and then on the next one, I said, I think he made a tiny little tweak on his shooting form.
I noticed that his shooting form was quieter. I didn't notice exactly like what it was that he was doing necessarily, in particular in terms of elbow height or arm, like anything like that. But I noticed that when he was released, like when he would catch it and shoot it on the three, it was just very quiet. And also, he didn't jump as high.
Exactly, he did not jump as high. It was more set shot like that.
He wasn't total set shot,
but it was like 4 inches off the ground rather than 10 inches off the ground.
Yeah. Yes. And so then he would just really, and it was smooth. It was silky. I loved it. I loved 3 of 6.
I know. But like I said, his elbow on his guide hand and everything. I think his whole season was thrown off by that finger injury. To his, just from a to his defending him for a second. That's really hard to come back from it. That type. They said, I think, like the bone was protruding when it first happened, and it was a really bad injury.
Yeah. So
to come back from that, and even though it was his guide hands are really important, man.
Oh, totally. But it also relates back to that word that we're talking about, confidence. You need to have the confidence when you take the shot. You need to believe that the shot's going to go in, like really believe that it's going to go in. If you have a little bit of doubt, you're like, oh, the shot clock's running down. I gotta heave this up, and then it's a miss, and then you're like, you're like, oh, you're feeling that, that stank of the miss is still on you when you go into the defensive end, and then you get burned on the defensive end, and then the ball's in your hands in the offensive end again. Now you got the stank from the missed shot, the stank from getting burned, and then you're wide open. And you don't take the shot, you pass it. So then you killed that offensive possession. So I want to get back to this because they talked about this in the broadcast. I forgot who asked who. I think it was Mark Jackson asked Jeff, or vice versa.
I was watching MSG.
Oh no, actually it was Breen. It was Mike Breen. Oh, you're watching MSG? So it was Mike Breen. Mike Breen said, so when you're missing 3-point shots, should you adjust and then just go away from that and try to get to the rim or take some mid-range shots? And it was really interesting to hear Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson say it. And they said basically what we've been echoing. You would think it's counterintuitive. You would think that, the 3-point shot's not falling. So let's not take 3-point shots. Let's drive. Let's take middies. Go ahead. You're going to lose. You're going to lose if you do that. It's just the reality of the math. There's a clock. There's only so many shots that go up in the air. And if the other team's putting up 30 or 40 3-point shots and they're hitting 12, 15 of them, doesn't matter how many 2-point shots you're going to hit. You're going to lose. Just talk to DeMar DeRozan. Talk to the Chicago Bulls. Talk to any team that doesn't keep shooting the three. You got to believe in it. These guys, because it fucks your whole offense up. If you start giving up open 3-point looks, what are you doing? That means you're driving into traffic. It doesn't work that way. I would rather a player who doesn't have it that night, but is totally wide open. I'd rather he keep shooting for the health of the offense itself. Because the next time around, it may not be that guy that gets the open look. It might be a different guy, like an Obi, who hits it from the corner. It cripples your offense if you give up open looks and if they're beyond the 3-point line. Unless you're a completely terrible 3-point shooter. That's a whole different story.
It's funny that you brought that up because Alan Hahn, one of the early stats before the game started tonight, was talking about the last game that they were 14 out of 33 from 3, but 95% of that were open threes. So that's where he's saying we got to cut down on them getting open. You can't leave NBA players, especially at Garland and those type of guys, open like that.
Yeah, exactly. If you leave them open, they're going to hit them. So you got to challenge them. Hey, look, a lot of people thought this team was a play-in team. A lot of people thought the Knicks were maybe a play-in team. Adrian, reality, yeah, and that's not only Foxy who thought that. A lot of people thought that. Vegas thought that. So it's not.
Adrian's always trolling me, but hey, I'll be the first to say that I thought Brunson was going to be good, but had no idea he was going to be this good. I had
That me either, honestly.
Yeah, I'm being truthful. I didn't think that Brunson was going to be this good. I thought, Tyus Jones on Memphis, I thought he was going to be a really good Tyus Jones, a smart player, low turnovers, makes the guys around him better, key. But this guy literally is a star. He's an all-star. I didn't know whether Randall could resurrect himself from last year, and he did. And the development of IQ and Grimes, the kids like that. I'm cool like that. Hey, I'm human. So I'm glad that they exceeded that. So for getting an apology, yeah.
Hey, I'm willing to apologize for that. I mean, I'm excited that this happened. This is like a wonderful.
I love
moment.
to be.
We got another super chat. Buzzer beater. What's up? RJ is the greatest black man since Haile Selassie.
Holly Selassie.
Haile Selassie.
Yeah.
Who is that? I don't even know who that is. Who is that?
I'll let buzzer beater. Haile Selassie is a famous. I thought Haile Selassie actually was. I thought he was Arab, but that's maybe I don't.
A former emperor of Ethiopia.
I'm
a little down on my Ethiopian history. He is the former emperor, born in 1892, died in 1975, and he was the emperor of Ethiopia from 1930 to 1974. Whoa, it's a long time. I love that. I love the enthusiasm. Thank you so much, Buzzer Beater, for the super chat.
We got wonderful.
Yeah, man. Lex the Destroyer showing us here. We got 162 in the chat. 30 more likes. Let's go. Get 100. Smash that like button. Knicks win game 3. And Knicks, I really think we're going to win game 4. If we win game 4, the series is over.
Yeah.
And the Cavs know this, which is why if we do win game 4, the series will be over.
Yeah, I'm with you. I definitely think that. Hopefully, no injuries. I'm just praying for it. But play good, tough basketball, physical basketball. As I say, play physical, play smart, play team. And we'll be there.
Absolutely. I want to talk a little bit more about RJ, because I know that he's a difficult player. Wait, did we talk about this? Because we were talking about this before we went live. Did I even talk about this already?
Keep going. I don't know.
Okay. All right. I've been doing this for over 2 years, 2.5 years or so, and Foxy like 3 or 4 years. And we have our opinions about RJ. And one of the things that I struggle with him is because he doesn't fit any real mold. The minute you think he's like this one thing, like this guy who can just shoot 40% from the 3-point line and can drive occasionally and can be a decent playmaker and a nice defender, then he becomes something else. Then he becomes a beast at the rim, just gets into the paint with reckless abandon and delivers often. I mean, he definitely has done better this season than he has in his entire career at finishing at the paint, at the bucket. But then he'll shoot, 12% from the 3-point line for 2 weeks, and then he shot this season. What he ended up shooting this season, he shot from the 3-point line 31%. And last season he shot 34%. But the season before he shot 41
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, 40.1%. So you're like, okay, all right. So, well, I guess that could be an outlier year. But then you look at the way he shot tonight. Nice and quiet. Just
his mix.
His mix was beautiful.
Yeah.
And he has enough size to have decent court vision so that he can find guys when he doesn't have it. When he's being double teamed or he's getting blitzed on one end. Thing is, he needs to get better at making those decisions. But he's still, and I know everyone hates it. Twitter hates it, but he's only 22. He's
Yeah.
only 22. But he's got
yeah.
Yeah. What's like now? Give me your feeling now on RJ. I mean, this was a big game, Foxy.
Yeah.
I mean, the Knicks season was on the line. We lose this game, the season's over.
Yeah, I said this Sunday. Keith said to me, shout out to my guy Keith, that who do you think was going to bounce back? And I said RJ. And I mentioned that he's too good of a player. My issue with RJ is a number 3 pick. So with number 3 picks, you think all-star. And I did all this research on cleaning the glass from, this year on, from his rookie year onward. And, the stats showed on cleaning the glass from at the rim, shooting accuracy at the rim, short mid-range, long mid-range, 3, corner 3. There's only been one player that's ever made an all-star team that started off their career having the shooting spec or stats of RJ, and that's Draymond Green. And he didn't make the all-star team because of his shooting. So, that I said RJ is a good ball player. It's just that expectation of him being great. When you pick somebody, a top 5 pick, in this case, number 3, you're really expecting a different thing. So I think RJ, and I said this, I think RJ is going to get better. He's going to get more savvy. I also said the key to RJ having a brilliant career is getting a midi, emulating like a DeRozan. Not so many threes, or, he had 94 shots blocked this year in 73 games. He had 105 shots blocked last year. And it's an IQ and an experience thing. He has to not take that extra dribble, get into the land of the giants where that shot gets blocked or he misses a bunny, pull up from that, from the elbow or something, and to say that JJ Redick, I don't know if you heard JJ Redick's podcast yesterday or today. And
I heard a piece of it.
He talked about RJ, and he said RJ, he's not a good shooter, he's not a good finisher, and he doesn't have a pull-up game, and that's really hard.
You know who was like that before?
Who?
Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd was not a good finisher. He was not a good 3-point shooter. He was a great ball handler and
but he didn't have
great
RJ.
General. He was a great floor general. But later on, as his career went on, he became one. And who else wasn't a great shooter? LeBron James.
Yeah,
now
I'm with you.
He's 6'8", and he's faster than RJ, so he could get to the rim. He could always deliver at the rim. But yeah, those are just And
this season, besides the 31% or so from 3, the biggest disappointment for me is the 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. I wanted him to have much more assists kicking it out. So that's what I'm hoping from a development standpoint in year 5, maybe through these playoffs, but next year, get that midi, and he has to have much more assists. He has to make the players around him better. And also my biggest concern is his defense. I think that he's not near his ceiling on offense, but I do think he's near his ceiling on defense.
But Foxy, I think his defense has improved tremendously since the
last
break.
10 games, or he's had some real bad games.
Compared to before the All-Star game, if you look at the splits,
he just has trouble getting skinny around screens. He's just he's just challenged at point of attack. They just blow past him. So that's where Mitch or that secondary help defender, but he's a really good player. It's just that sometimes you have, I'll be guilty of it. A number 3 pick, you have expectations of, a perennial all-star. And I just don't think RJ, I think he'll be a solid player. I just don't ever see that all-star in his future. Maybe he gets back 2 years ago shooting that 41% from 3 and it allows him to get his game, but he's so left dominant. It's I just want to see more diversity in his offensive game.
I agree with all of that. The things where it would deviate are, and it's because I don't know, honestly, I don't really know what his ceiling is. I'm being perfectly. I mean, 100%.
What, offensive, defensive, or collectively?
Offensively. Defense. I think defense. He's gonna just keep getting better. He's on a Knicks team. He's got Thibs as his coach, Johnny Bryant there. He'll just keep improving on his defense. I think his conditioning was shit when the season
I think he
started.
needs to lose 10 pounds.
Yeah, we'll see. Whatever it is. Also, you remember he's gonna mature even more. You know, remember by this moment from this next season, it's 6 months. You know, when you're 22, you know that's meaningful. When you're 32 and 62, it's not as meaningful. But when you're 22, it's meaningful.
I know, but when you're already not athletic and you don't have hops and so that's.
But he's got some hops. He's got some. He's just not.
He's
at
6'6".
the level that these other guys. Yeah, he's 6'6". That helps. That helps a lot. One of the reasons why he is so frustrating is because we look at him and it is the draft pick, like you said, number 3. We think we just want him to be so much more than what he has been, is what we want him to be. That's the reality where the frustration comes from. And that's totally legitimate. I get that. But because he lacks that athleticism and he lacks that shooting touch that we would like for him to have compared to like even a Mikal Bridges. You know, he doesn't even have the offensive game of Mikal Bridges.
Not even close.
Mikal
Bridges every year is a blink away from 50, 40, 90. The good,
not even
the gold
close.
standard.
Not even close. Yeah. But there's a chance that 6 years from now, RJ Barrett is a better NBA player than Mikal Bridges.
No.
That's the way I look at it. That's the way I look at it.
He's not going to be better on defense. He doesn't have a 7'3" wingspan. And
he doesn't.
But I think
you know what he's got? But you know
what
what he's got? He's got the big fucking balls of an alpha. Mikal Bridges thinks he does. But Mikal Bridges, he rode on Jalen's back. He rode on Josh Hart's back. He's not the guy.
Yeah, he's a Villanova boy.
He's not the guy. He's not the guy.
Yeah, he's showing since he came to the Nets that he has a lot more game.
You give me 25 shot attempts, I'm gonna hit 14 of them. I'm gonna hit 55%. Does that mean I can turn a team into a winner? No.
You know, you said something really important, and I think the biggest thing from a talent evaluation standpoint of RJ is that whether working with Drew Hanlon, etc., that he could work on his shooting mechanics. But shooting touch is a gift from the basketball gods. Either you have it or you don't. And
Jason Kidd, LeBron James.
I don't know. Regardless, I just think that RJ, unfortunately, he doesn't have a natural touch on his shot.
That is 100% true.
And
he doesn't have a natural touch. He's got to work on it.
But also listening to the Wally Serbiaks and stuff like that, when you look at great shooters, when they're off, they're either short or they're long, but they're dead on. RJ is left and right.
Yeah, that is bullshit now. That's like from old school. Honestly, I'm going to tell JJ Redick and everybody else. That's all from the old school. Shooting. That's all from another era. You know, we're not the white boy who sits out on the 3-point line. Everyone else does all the hard work, and you just sit there and you just shoot from the 3-point line. No, the game has totally changed. It's totally changed since then, and that's why you're not in the game anymore. That's why Danny Green is irrelevant. That's why Joe Ingles is irrelevant. That's why Joe Harris is irrelevant. That's why all these people who relied on that type of their game are irrelevant now. They're irrelevant. You need to be able to shoot with a hand in your face. You need to be able to shoot like with like a half second left in the shot clock, and someone dumps it off to you because he couldn't make anything happen, and which happens to RJ constantly. Because he's left wide open. He's left open. So he's got to take that shot. That's not today's game. Look even Steph Curry. He's got to deal with this constant noise around him to try to make those shots, which is when they make them, they're just phenomenal. Like guys like Dame and him and all that stuff. But the game is evolving even right now as we're watching it. In the era where there's been more scoring than ever before in the history of the NBA, the number one highest rated offense in the history of the NBA are the Sacramento Kings of this season. And the New York Knicks are the number 4 or 5 highest rated offense in the history of the NBA. But it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant because 1 minute to the next, things could swing so fast because of the 3-point shot. And the way that people are defending the perimeter. You have to develop that in-between game, like you said. That is going to be the key for RJ. I don't know if he can, but I'm not sure that he can't.
Oh, I think he definitely can.
I'm not sure he can. I'm not sure he can to the level that he needs to develop. Like, like a Kawhi. You see it. You see the greats. Kawhi, KD, Devin Booker. All those guys have that mid-range game. And even, like Brunson, you saw some of it tonight.
The mid-range assassin. Look at his cleaning the glass, Brunson. He's magnificent.
Fantastic.
Mid-range. Yeah.
If RJ, that's where RJ can develop that. His 3-point shot, I think he'll settle into that like 37% range at some point. He just when he's on, he's just on. And he's on for long enough stretches to make me believe that. This was an odd season. This was a really odd season for him.
And that hand injury really threw everything off for the guy.
And I think that as well. And like we said earlier, his conditioning wasn't where he should have been at the beginning of the season. So then that impacted him. And also just the pressure, the pressure, the weight.
Well, the pressure I felt was off because he signed the contract. He wasn't playing for a contract.
Yeah, you would think it depends on the person. Like for me, it wouldn't make a difference. You know what I mean? Like
some other guys, I
don't think he's that. I don't think it would matter whether he was making $1 million or 25 million.
Well, in his case, 120 million
or 120 million. Yeah, but he's not making that yet. A lot of people think, oh, well, he's not a big. He'll get that next season. That's not this season. Yeah. Well, that was fascinating. I have. I'm not 100% sold that RG will figure it out. I'm not. It's 4 years. I've seen a lot, but I've also seen a lot of him doing some phenomenal things. So it's still up in the air, honestly. I can't say either way. I can't be that definitive either way. Like I know for sure Emmanuel Quickley is going to be a player in this league that's going to have to be dealt with for many, many years to come. I know that. I can feel that in my bones. I can feel it. Kind of like the way Jalen Brunson. When I saw Jalen Brunson last season, I was like, wow. And when he was with Dallas, it's like, dude, this dude's a dude. I feel that with Quickley. I'm not sure about RJ yet. I hope for it. And I want to see a repeat of tonight on Sunday from him.
Every game for the rest of this, this playoff run, I want to see from him. I want that, I don't want to see, 19 points on 18 shots. I want to see much more efficiency. Like I said, I want to see, good, smart plays. I don't want to see lazy passes. I just want to see, big, good, smart basketball.
Josh Hart just tweeted out RJ MF Barrett.
I love Josh Hart. I mean, I love Josh Hart.
Yes.
And you know what? Having a Josh Hart makes an RJ Barrett better.
Totally. Just the way that Brunson has made IQ better. I feel like Hart is going to have that effect on RJ. Hey, he already has, honestly. When he got traded to the Knicks, RJ played some of his worst defense from that trade from like February 9th to the All-Star game. Terrible defense. And he was embarrassed. He was like basically embarrassed. And I pointed it out on my own show. I made sure that he was embarrassed. And he came out. He definitely has made a concerted effort to become a better defender, and he has become a better defender. He's not nowhere near the level of a Josh Hart or anything like that, but he's definitely improved, which is, as much as we can ask for at this point. Man. What was the most surprising thing for you in this game tonight?
I felt like Cleveland after the physicality and their confidence in game two, it seemed to dwindle real quick in this game. I thought they were going to be much more fighters. I thought they rolled over and took it in the ass real quick. It was like,
Not that that's a bad thing.
well, it is with me.
I mean, me, but I mean,
it is just meaning. So
not necessarily a bad thing.
Well, but the whole thing is, I thought they'd be much tougher, and
They're not that tough. They're not.
They
tough.
showed they weren't tough. They were tough at home, and they came in here all soft and stuff.
Francisco Carrillo says Cavs knew they were not going to win.
They had that look. They
had that look. I'm not sure, like
Francisco.
Yeah, I'm not sure before the game started they had that feel, but definitely through the game, as the game kind of unfolded itself, it did feel like that. Let's see, we got. Hey, shout out to the chat. We got
Bill Maddox, my buddy. Hope all is well with you and your family, my friend.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You want to shout out anybody else out?
Bayard, Kamaniki. I apologize if I messed up your last name. Doc Kamish. You just mentioned Francisco Carrillo. We'll be shouting Jesse Rodriguez.
Jesse. Hey, Jesse's in the house. What's up, Jesse?
And the one and only Adrian Reality, the president of the Stephen Fox fan club.
So, RJ, before the All-Star break, was wow. Damn. His defensive rating was a 116.6. Now, since the All-Star break, not necessarily that much better, just a little bit better. 116.2. It's a little bit better. But his ability, wait, let me look at this one, the stat. Pull this other one up here. Opponent's offense. Here we go. So it's like, he kind of like stopped the bleeding a little bit, but not enough. Not nearly enough. He definitely needs to become a better defender. No doubt. No doubt. Let's see what we got here. New York Knicks are up 2-1 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. They have taken control of the series. Right now, they play on Sunday. It's an early game, everybody. Remember that. Early game.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock start.
Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard Time. As you can see, the free throw shooting has been was abysmal in this game. The Cavs only shot 58.8%, and we only shot 60, not much better, 61.1%. A lot of times that's because of the physicality of the game. These guys they're tired, they're winded. When they get to that free throw line, they just like short shots and stuff. But still, they got to break through that. We won the assist battle, which is shocking considering we only had 21 assists. 21 would be the worst. If you average 21 assists, would probably be the worst in the NBA. So the fact that our opponent had less is pretty cool. The rebounding, we only won that by 1. Turnovers, we took control of the ball. I would like us to do a little better than 14 turnovers. Get it down to like 10. 10 would be nice. But we really turned it up in that second half in terms of our shooting. The first half shooting in this game was pretty abysmal. The Knicks only shot 42% in the first half, and the Cavs shot 31% in the first half. But by the time the second half was over, the Knicks were up above 50%. They were at 52.6%. But the Cavs shooting improved in the second half, 47.4%. I think that both teams just got a little calmer, a little more centered. The audience, the crowd wasn't maybe they got used to the noise of the crowd, and that's why they were able to connect on some shots a little more. Donovan shot 50% in that second half, 4 of 8. What was it?
LeVert was the big thing for them in the second half.
LeVert in that third quarter. When we were still doing the halftime show, I didn't realize that the game had already restarted. And I forgot who it was. Someone posted it in the chat, like, "Oh, Karis LeVert's going off." But I was like, "Wait a second, he didn't score any points in the first half." So, but I didn't realize he was talking about the third quarter. Yeah, he went crazy in that second half. 7
He's a
of 11.
microwave, man.
He is, and he's got that size and
6'6",
length,
6'7", yeah.
And it's difficult for us to match up with him because that's kind of like, RJ. It's about RJ. He's even probably a little bit bigger than RJ.
Longer, yeah.
A little bit longer, maybe. Not as strong, but the size. It just has a little tiny size advantage. And if we put RJ on him, then we can't put RJ on Garland, and that helped putting RJ on Garland in this game. RJ did an excellent job on him in that first half when he was out there. All the guards did, and they kept Darius to 1 of 12 in that first half. And then in the second half, he didn't do much better. He finished 3 of 9. Looking at this. Oh, sorry.
I was going to just say also a shout out to Randall. Mobley has been on nothing on the offensive last, in this series. 10 points tonight. I think he had 13 last game. So that's a number 3 pick there too, folks. So from an expectation standpoint, but it just shows when you put a body on a skinny guy, it's not the same player, but Julius, we blew him out with Julius having a really bad game. And also a bad shooting mix. He took way too many threes. If it wasn't going down, my biggest issue with Julius is when he goes mid-range, he loses his confidence. He has to go up with that shot. All of a sudden, you see him. He gets it. He makes it his fake, and then all of a sudden he gets in the paint and he makes the first fake. Then he makes the second fake, and he loses his confidence. And then it kicks it out. And then you just said 10 seconds, 12 seconds just went off that shot clock. Would you, come on, Julius, have confidence. You're a third team All NBA player probably this season. Go up with the shot, bro. Or also get him in foul trouble. You got to go at these guys. So that's one of the strategies I want with Tibbs. Go at Garland, go at Donovan, go at Mobley, get them in foul trouble.
Totally. And I was surprised that we did not get them into foul trouble.
It's a great strategy for us to take. It's a smart strategy, especially with our type of players. Randall's a physical player. He can draw those fouls.
Mitch should be able to draw some fouls too,
for sure, man. Especially on because he's such an elite offensive rebounder on that, on those putbacks, get those fouls.
All right, beautifully. This is great. This is going to lead me into my next phase of this, and just ride with me on this, Foxy.
As long as I don't have to get on all fours.
The reason why I'm so confident about the Knicks winning this series is because we have so many things that we can do better.
Oh, no doubt.
So many things, and we're up 2-1. We're up 2-1, and I don't think we've even played a good game yet. When I say by good game, I mean like beginning to end, both sides of the ball, smart, good game. Now, the Cavs get a lot of credit for that because they have a great defense. They get a lot of credit for that. But we have not played to the best of our ability yet. Randall, 11 points tonight.
Yeah, but for the series,
20%. He shot 20%.
I know. To illustrate your point, for the series, through 3 games, Brunson shooting 12.5% from 3. Randall 29%, RJ 28%, 11 from 3, Quentin Grimes 11%, and we're up 2-1.
Exactly.
And holding them, like I said, they're averaging 94.3 points through 3 games. Yeah, we're gonna win those. Like I said, we're now 34-3, folks. When we hold an opponent from 110 points and below. That's not a that's a trend. That's not an isolated data point.
Bingo, bingo. And my hunch is, as the series continues, like game 4, I would not be surprised if game 4 comes and the Knicks deliver one of those offensive juggernaut type performances, like we're due, where Quickly is like 7 of 10 from the 3-point line. Brunson, 38 points. RJ gives you an efficient 20. Randall gives you an efficient 30. I feel like that is more within the realm of possibility than the Cavs replicating their second game type results on Sunday, just because of the comfort factor. The familiarity, you kind of shaking off the awkwardness, the intensity of the moment. You're a little more comfortable in our
jitters.
The jitters. Obi, who has had a pretty decent series all along, could end up having one of those amazing games off the bench where he gives you 18 points. That is more to me in terms of like tracking the trend of this team and how I've been watching them play all season long, for the past 3 years. That feels more probable than the Cavs replicating what they did on game 2. That's why I feel really comfortable about the Knicks winning this series.
Yeah, and the only thing I'll ask, in the first game we shot 86% from the foul line. The second game 81%, and only shot 61% tonight. Get that foul shooting up, folks.
That's a key. We have to get that foul shooting up.
Yeah, especially close games. It's a difference in winning and losing.
Yeah, I'm surprised Lamar Stevens barely played.
I'm with you. I've liked his game out of Penn State. He's a tough, gritty player, and especially when in a physical series, he's a poor man's Josh Hart.
There, the Cleveland Cavaliers starting backcourt shot 13 of 40 in this game. 13 of 40.
Yeah.
Wow.
A 3 of 15 from 3.
And they're the offense for this team. Remember, LeVert is a nice player, but he can't create for himself. Mobley is his second year. He's still developing. I still think he's going to end up being the guy we always thought he was going to. He already has shown he's a great defender. Number 3 runner-up in Defensive Player of the Year.
Yep.
He shows those moments where he takes guys off the dribble. He it's in his bag. He just has to develop it further. I like him. 3 years from now is going to be a really exciting player.
Yeah, and especially, guys like that are so dependent on, very Obi-like, dependent on other players for them to be the best they could be. So having, he has such shoot-first point guards on those, between Mitch and Garland, that I think in the next couple of years, those guys will, feed him more. You can't teach 7 feet, 7'4" wingspan, 44-inch vertical. So he's going to be special. He already is, like you said. He's a runner. He's in the running for Defensive Player of the Year from this point on every year. You saw how many times guys would pull out that they didn't want to challenge him. Man.
Exactly, they don't want to challenge him, and that's the mark of a great defender.
Yeah,
you see it. They do. It happens with Mitch. You see it. But I do think in a few years he'll figure all that out. What was I going to ask you? I was going to ask you something. I got thrown off there for a second.
And also one and dones. People don't realize, they don't get, so they come into the league. It takes them a few years. The old days, they have 3 or 4 years in college. They were much smarter and savvy coming into the game.
By the way, our rebounding advantage, our true rebounding advantage was much greater because Dean Wade and Lamar Stevens and Robin Lopez picked up 6 rebounds themselves
in garbage time.
So we were way ahead in that respect. What did you think about the game that Isaiah Hartenstein gave us tonight?
It was a quiet game versus other games. He made a couple of plays that don't show up in box score, but he made one play that I thought the ball was going to go out of bounds, and he tapped it to Josh Hart, who continued like on a fast break and stuff. So he does a lot of things. He's just, I like him. At the beginning of the season, it's like, why the hell did we get this guy? And by the end of the season, man, am I glad we got this guy. So I think next year, hopefully he spends a whole lot of time shooting threes in the off season. And, I think he shot like 21% from three. He wasn't, the stats at the Clippers last year, it wasn't volume of people coming in saying, oh, he's a stretch five. Nah, he wasn't a stretch five, but I'd love to see him at the pinch post, high post, and bringing cutters, whether it's a Grimes cutting, RJ cutting, Obi cutting. He's wonderful in passing. At his height and his IQ, he sees the floor beautifully. I'd love to, he only averaged a little over an assist a game. He could do so much better next year and take advantage of it in schemes.
Juan Suarez, we finally got Mike Breen for us outside of New York. I know. Thankfully, I was trying to find the right feed to put it on for game 1 and 2 to hear Clyde and Breen together. It was brutal listening to the others, but tonight we got Breen. I thought they called a great game. Breen, JVG, and Mark Jackson. I thought they did. I don't know if you didn't listen to it, but
I only listen to MSG if it's available. I'm a homer that way.
Yeah. Well, this time, luckily, it was a really good. That trio is all star. They're gonna call the NBA Finals. They're the best, and we got it tonight on ABC. It was an ABC game, and the next game will be on ABC on Sunday. Yep. All right, we got over 150 in the chat. That's awesome. Thank you guys for joining us here on this beautiful Friday night. The New York Knicks beat the fuck out of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Beautiful. I almost called the final score exactly at halftime. I said we're gonna keep. I said 88. I meant to say 80, and then I was like 88. But I wish I had said 80 because we kept them to 79. It's the first time all season long a team has been held under 80 points.
The first time this season that they were beat by over 20 points too.
Really? This is the first time the Cavs were beat by over 20 points? Or by 20 points?
Yeah, I think you had that in your Tommy Beer.
That's a beautiful stat. Wow. Foxy, who's your favorite Knick?
Jalen Brunson. I'm old school, so I like players both on court and off court who conduct themselves in a certain way. And then my second favorite is Josh Hart. I love Villanova boys. That's why when you were saying stuff about Mikal Bridges, I'd say
no. I love Mikal Bridges, but he's never going to be a number one on a win.
I agree with you, but he's a lockdown defender and he can shoot threes. And like I said, when you shoot near 50% from the floor, 40% from three, and almost 90% from the foul line every year, plus that defense, and you see what now that he's come to the Nets, that he's unleashed that offensive game that he had to hide when he had Booker and the other guys there. He'd be a difference maker on this team.
Shout out to Amazement 717. He dropped in the comments. Hopefully the blowout doesn't make them take foot off gas. Keep it going at home and take control of the series. I put this up because I did feel that the Knicks played the game 2 like that. Like they had, we got to win in our back pocket. Okay, all right. We lose. We're still going home. That's not the attitude you need to have in a playoff.
Now, if they're at home, I don't think they're going to lose it because that energy in New York, the crowd will make sure that they keep that energy going.
Totally. But I'm talking about the mental process.
Yeah.
That's something Knicks players don't fall into that trap. Doesn't matter what just happened. Listen to your faux captain, or not faux captain, but your soon-to-be captain. Jalen Brunson is going to be the captain of this team. He is currently the captain as far as we are all concerned. Listen to him. This game is over. This game is irrelevant now. There's only one game that matters. Play on Sunday like you may never play basketball ever again.
Repossession.
Yes, that is it, and then drill it down. Take it down every quarter, then every possession, every dribble. The last one you may ever have ever in the playoffs. That is the reality of the situation.
That's why fans love Josh Hart. He dives for balls. He makes every possession look like it's, win or lose for, I love players who play like that. And I don't mean anything. It was a couple times with Randall. It's like, didn't die for a ball. His energy, he concerns me, Randall. He has all this talent, but from the neck
he's still, I'm not sure he's 100% at all. Though.
His energy is weird, man.
Yeah, he there were some moments where he played some nice defense, but in general, it's. I'm not concerned yet. Because he still provides, at least in this series. I'm not concerned yet. His physicality, it's much needed, especially against those two big guys. I wish he would put more pressure on them, put them in more difficult situations, so they cause some stupid fouls and get into foul trouble. I wish they would do that more. And if the Cavs are, let's say the guys hovering around the outside are hitting their buckets, we're gonna need Randall and Barrett and Brunson to put those two guys in foul trouble. And I'll even throw Mitch in there as well. They got to put pressure on them. Got to make them make bad decisions. And the only way you do that is by just pressure, constant pressure. I think we talked about this at halftime. In game 2, I saw several times where the Knicks had an ability. They had a man advantage, but Jalen would stay out there by the 3-point line, dribbling until everyone came. But what that meant was you let the Cavs set up their defense. No, attack before they're set. And that was the reason that RJ benefited tonight. RJ didn't wait for that. He attacked. He attacked them. Even if it was two guys in the paint, he still attacked. And it worked tonight. And that's something that has to carry over into Sunday. But they have to play Sunday like it's the very last game they may ever play in the postseason. That's how you have to approach every single postseason game.
And put them in a situation where they have, the first game, 3 of the key guys, Allen, Mitchell, and Garland played 43 minutes. So they don't have the bench the depth that we have. So keep putting them in that situation, because if you're playing 43 minutes, they're not going to, that's what impacts guys down in crunch time. Those last 5 minutes of a game, they're going to be exhausted, especially bigs. They don't have the stamina of wings and smaller guys.
Foxy, I want to hear your feelings about Mr. Emmanuel Quickly tonight.
I still don't think, we talked about, visually he still doesn't look like he's running on all cylinders, but he was a plus 27. So
that's a crazy amount of plus.
It is. I mean,
our two point guards were over plus 20.
Yeah. Spectacular.
Or plus 20.
No, but he took only 6 shots, which is usually that's a quarter for it feels like a quarter for him. But 6 shots for the game is not a normal a Quickly type of thing. 2 for 3, thank God. But he had 2 assists.
Yeah.
Yep. Two assists.
Yeah.
1 rebound, and usually he's a fantastic rebounder for a guard. So his game wasn't his normal game, but he's still a plus 27. So that says it all. And it's also adhering to a Tibbs that if you're not doing certain other things, impact the game in other ways. And obviously, if you're a plus 27, you're impacting the game on defense in other ways.
Yeah, his defense was pretty on point tonight. I like. I mean, yeah, I do. I'm with you in terms of, or I think someone else posted this here that IQ needs to be more aggressive. I 100% agree with that. But I like that he wasn't his like the we got the wild IQ tonight. It wasn't tonight. Wasn't the night for that. Tonight was like
No cross court passes getting picked off.
yeah. If you got it, okay. But if you don't got it, tread lightly. Trek with go with caution. Be contained. Don't make stupid mistakes. He was generally like that. I think he did have one turnover, but that's it. One turnover in 23 minutes. I'll take that for a point guard. But
he's wonderful that way anyway.
Generally,
turnover. Yeah,
previous game he was terrible. The previous game.
Well, that's why it was an anomaly. The first couple of games, you're like, what? The one game he had those 3 turnovers, and then the last game he made that same turnover that he did the previous game. You're like, that's so anti-IQ. He usually doesn't do anything like that. So it was like maybe the jitters of playoffs is, even though it is his second playoffs, but the expectations of him are a lot different than in his rookie year now. And especially with a contract that will probably be netting him around 20 some odd $1 million a year.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be in that range, I think. All right, let's look at Sunday now. Let's look at Sunday. We won this game. Knicks are up 2-1. Beautiful. It's exactly what we wanted. But there's a chance that we may be a player down. There's a chance that Quentin Grimes may not be available for Sunday's game. There's a chance. I'm not saying there is, that we don't know that for sure. But he didn't play in the second half. Contused shoulder. In case you missed it earlier, we talked about it. I think he was available to play, but they just didn't necessarily need him. They started Hart in that second half. How much do you think it's going to impact us for game 4?
What?
Not having Grimes available? If let's play it out. Let's say he's not available.
I think he's a great defender, but again, because of our depth, having just Josh Hart and Emmanuel Quickly, I think it'll negate that and throwing in the Deuce. I think it'll negate that. We will miss Grimes, but he's not hitting his 3-point shot. As I said, he's hitting 11% through 3 games. So at this point in time, our depth will be able to say, "Hey, we missed Grimes, but we really didn't." Also, we had guys that stepped in and played the game at a level that allowed us to not have a blink.
Yeah, luckily we have 2 guys who can give us at least somewhat to the level of defense that Quentin can give us, which is IQ and Deuce and Hart. Actually, so it's 3 guys.
3 guys.
Yeah, so we're lucky in terms of that, in terms of depth, and it's true. Quentin is struggling with his 3-point shot. I was surprised in that first half. He got some decent looks. He's
been short
looks
all series, so I don't know if it's just his legs are tired, because legs are so important in your shooting. And the old adage is, if you're hitting the front of the rim, it's your legs. You're tired. So I don't know if it's been a season. We came into the season, we had some concerns about that knee injury, that patella injury at the end of last season that made him lose. I missed 36 games. But so we have the depth, and hopefully he'll come back. But shoulders, like George said earlier, it's weird. Well, hopefully it's in a couple of days it'll be okay, but if not, it throws off everything in your shooting motion.
I wonder if someone's posted like that video, because I missed it when he hurt his shoulder.
I don't know if it was captured by any film. So, chat, did you see anything on Twitter or anything?
I haven't seen anything on Twitter yet about it. So I'm hoping, because I'd like to see it. I'm wondering, because I am a little concerned, because our team is built a certain way, and he's a key part. He's like an instrumental part of it. His size, 6'5", his length, his
intensity,
it's just
his smarts. He takes such gorgeous angles. You watch him, his angles that he takes on players, that puts him in a situation that he can switch. It's just fundamentally, he's just so fundamentally sound on the defensive. So Sampson at Houston did such a great job with him, but I thought his 3-point shooting was not going to be an issue. That's his game. he's going to be consistently around that 40%. You know, we finished the season strong at 38 and change, so he was in that vicinity, but he's gone back to that. You know, we need him to shoot. So also, you and I and the chat, we're students of the game. We've watched so many games. When you see a guy lean over in a certain way like that, they're coming down. It's like, yo, is that a separated shoulder? What, if you're holding your shoulder down like that, usually it's like, oh man.
I would rather it had been a separated shoulder than a contused shoulder.
Seriously, not me.
Yeah. You just pop it back in.
Well,
you need a day.
Now a harness now.
Well, a day. You pop it back in, and you have a day. If it's just a pop, you have a day of like soreness. But by the second day, you're okay. But a contused shoulder, who knows the severity of it?
Yeah, especially down to the bone. Yeah.
If it's down to the bone, then that.
But very similar to what our guy Josh said. It's about pain tolerance. Can he play through that pain? We'll find out. And I wouldn't be surprised, man. He has a chance, the burn and the respect he has from Tibbs to be in the position he is. I think he's going to be a warrior and gut it out.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, who knows? He might gut it out. I would. If it were up to me and it was only a contused shoulder, I'd just do whatever I can to get out there, to be out there for my team. Unless I'm hurting the team, that's a different story.
Unless you're hurting the team, and if Tibbs like that, and especially when you have guys that could step in and say, you know what, if you're not 100%, we got to go with Quick, we got to go with Josh, and we also can supplement them with Deuce.
Absolutely. So Foxy, what are your keys for the Knicks? Like, how do you think Game 4 is going to play out from the Cavs' point of view? Let's look at it from the Cavs' point of view this time.
They're against the wall, man. They know, and you said it earlier, my friend, that if they lose the next game, the series is over. And they may lose.
That's why Game 3 is so important. Winning Game 3 is pivotal.
Yeah,
and we did.
And also statistically, 77% of teams that win the first game go on to win the series. So I think Randall's key in the next game. I want Randall to have a smart, efficient game. I don't want him playing hero ball. I want a better mix of shots. But if his shot's not going, Randall.
You talking about Randall?
Randall.
I thought his 2-3, even though he missed 8 3-point attempts, the 2 he made were big.
They were.
It came at like a big in that. They hit that one in the first half. Was the other one in the second half? Whenever it was like, oh yeah. Like, we needed it. Gave us some breathing room. But yeah, I agree with you. He needs to be able to.
And he had that monster dunk, man. I can imagine what Madison Square Garden was like when he did that facial, man. That was mean.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was right. I just want him playing within himself, because we've learned that when RJ's off, we can win when RJ's off, and we learned tonight we can win when Randall's off. So
we won Game 1 when Brunson was off.
Exactly.
Wow, think about that. That's
a mark of a very good team.
That's a mark of a very good team. That's what I meant by when I was talking about the Cavs in that previous post game. To me, I don't think they're a very good team, because if their key guys have off,
they're not as good as their stats say they are.
Yes, and if their key guys, Spida, Darius, and I would say Mobley, it's over Jarrett, because Jarrett is so consistent. He's just like, he's going to give you that 35 minutes, going to hit a majority of his little shots that he gets here and there, but he doesn't make offense for himself. He's going to give you, some rebounding and some great defense, and but Mobley, Darius, and Donovan, if they have bad games, Cavs ain't winning.
So yeah, but just when they did win, they only scored 107 points.
Yeah, they had a great game 2, and they only scored 107 points.
So that's why I'm saying that, and we had a really bad game. So if we play a normal game, we're going to beat their ass.
I had Cavs fans coming at me because I said all that stuff after the second game, post game, and I was like, "Why do you guys think the Cavs are lucky to have won this game? I don't understand." But it's like, well, you obviously don't watch a lot of NBA games, and people were slamming me like, "Oh, you obviously don't know about NBA." I was like, "All right," I didn't respond. Let the team talk in Game 3. Well, there you go. This is why. Cavs are a nice team. They're a nice team. They have great pieces, but they're not there yet. This is not the season for them. Not necessarily it's the season for the Knicks either. We're kind of similar. We have some nice pieces, but we have something that's very different, and that is Jalen Brunson. And it's kind of a diss against Donovan because it's kind of putting them together, but Jalen has already proven that he can be an instrumental piece of a team that can go to a conference finals.
That, and also Cleveland cleaned out the cupboard with assets and market and, Laurie and Colin and other things to be 3 games better than the Knicks.
Yeah.
So that says a lot that, wow, the Knicks kept all their assets. So we have all this leverage for the future for after this season, God willing, we'll go, beat the Cleveland. And I don't think Milwaukee is as invincible as people make them. So, and especially like you said earlier.
I love hearing that, Foxy.
But I love what the point that you brought up about the mental game. If we win this first round series, our confidence goes to a whole nother, we believe in ourselves. We did that. And now these guys, Brook Lopez, yeah. And as weird as Brook Lopez led the league in block shots this year. But I don't think RJ will be as afraid getting to the hole against Milwaukee as he is going against.
Oh, no. This is much harder.
Against Mobley. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. This is much harder to deal with defensively. All right. This is, now we may be getting way ahead of ourselves, and it's great that you mentioned that. If the Knicks can get past the Cavs, I think this team should believe that they could go all the way. And I'll tell
you gotta believe, babe.
You gotta believe. And the main reason is because if you beat the Cavs, you have just eliminated the best defense in the NBA. So the next defense you're going to play,
reality,
the next defense, but they're also the kind of they're a tough defense for us. They have
Milwaukee?
length. No, the Cavs.
Yeah.
Milwaukee's a great defense. Milwaukee's a great defense, but the Cavs technically this season statistically are better defense than Milwaukee. They have 2 big 7-footers who love to swat. They just love to swat flies left and right, and we have 3 guys who love to drive. So it's a battle. It's a battle it's a battle of your go-to. What it is that, like, how do you win? What is it that you're best at? And what we're best at is driving, putting that pressure on the rim. And they are best at deflecting that pressure on the rim. So if we end up winning that battle, I don't see any other team in the NBA being able to do a better job than the Cavs.
With you, man.
There you go. But this game's over. Game 4 is what it's all about. Forget about this. Go out there on the court, Knicks players, like your life, like you will never play another playoff game again. This may be your last one. If you want that not to happen, you win. That's how you do it.
And also having guys like Brunson and Hart, I don't have any concerns they're going to be, at One Oak or, out to 4 o'clock in the morning before a 1 o'clock afternoon game. I think they're good.
Oh no, there's no party. Then these guys aren't going to party tonight or tomorrow. No. They can sense it. They seem really the way they came out tonight showed me so much about that, about the character of this team. Yeah, I love it. I love this team, Foxy.
I agree, but a lot of people don't realize sometimes that it's not only intimidating to our competitors, but sometimes Madison Square Garden and the crowd could be intimidating to players on the Knicks. So I'm glad they came back and, We didn't have you expect over the last couple of years that we'd have a better home record than we would. But now with the addition of Brunson and Josh coming on and the other guys, I think we're going to be protecting our home turf. And, every game makes us tougher.
And it's not easy because the Cavs and the Knicks are the two best road teams that are in the playoffs. So this is a very unusual series. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't know with the Heat and the Bucks. The Bucks are dealing with some injuries, but that we're getting too far ahead of ourselves. I do. My mind goes that way. But Sunday, it's all about Sunday. We take care of business Sunday. We're 3-1. Going back to Cleveland, we might even finish it out in Cleveland.
It may take their heart away, man. Because we already won a game in Cleveland, so it's not like we could do this again, and especially in that situation, I don't know how much they're going to have in the tank emotionally.
And this right here, we like ugly win. Because there's nothing ugly in a win. A win is a beautiful thing. If you win it any which way, it's still beautiful. But you're right. It doesn't need to be beautiful to win. And we have that type of team. This team has that kind of 90s vibe to me, and a lot of it does come from Hart, Josh Hart coming in to provide that. But Julius Randle has that similar kind of vibe himself. Jalen Brunson gives me that kind of vibe also. Even RJ gives me that kind of vibe. The hard worker, the lunch pail guy. This team is composed of
J.R. Smiths.
No J.R. Smiths. Yeah. Not that I would love to have a J.R. Smith on this team right now, just fucking flinging threes and giving you 35
but
points.
Not a guy that's gonna not know the timeout or he's so stoned from the night before.
Yeah, true. That our players won't be stoned going out on the court from the night before, or at least lingering. Yeah, that's true. Hey, we got Damian Mann in the house. What's up, brother? Damian's pretty confident here. Knicks will win game 4. I'm not even worried. I thought I saw the Cavs cave in tonight. We were talking about that earlier. We saw something like the pilot light. Kind of just...
The eyes don't lie.
Yeah. I think we can totally take them off their game if we beat them 2 in a row. Absolutely. That's why the game 4, every game, of course, is pivotal. Every game is important. But now, game 4, we don't want to give them any signs of life. We want to give them any confidence. Also, going back to Cleveland 2-2 will kind of embolden them. So we need to take care of business on our home court. And luckily, since Josh Hart came to this team, we have become a much better home team, which is interesting considering he's a new player. He's never been a Knick, but he did play in the Garden in the past. But that's very important, that we need to be able to hold home court. We win game 4, this is our series, no matter what happens in the final 3 games.
I'm a superstitious guy. Both Brunson and and Josh were wearing lime green sneakers. Keep wearing them lime green sneakers.
It's all in the eyes, Chico. It's all in the eyes. You could see it. Donovan's looking around. He's overwhelmed. Darius is like, he's like, shit. And
it's funny when I talk about Randall, it's usually I get scared when I look in his eyes, whether he's on tonight or not early in the game. Like, oh, he's got them crazy eyes. I don't know if Randall's going to have a good night tonight.
I know. He's an enigma.
Yeah. Well, he's his biggest enemy, man. He's so freaking talented. You know how hard it is to be an all-NBA player, and now he's going to be an all-NBA player for the second time, this year. So, but the other thing is you get so scared with him late in games, his decision-making, and it's a shame.
When he turns the ball over, it like kills my soul.
My soul,
the little bit of soul that I have left.
You got a whole lot of soul.
Dies every time Randall commits one of those like completely ridiculous, unnecessary turnovers. He did it in the first half. Dribble it. We were like gaining a little momentum. I can't remember. We had like a 2-point lead, maybe 3-point lead, and he had the ball down low. All you need to do is make the little spin correctly, lay it up, and then we'd be a 5-point lead. Maybe get a foul and a 6-point lead. Instead, dribbles it off his foot.
Yeah.
but he kept that to a minimum. So that's something to be shouted out. That he didn't like keep doing that. He only committed 2 turnovers, so there was only one other turnover other than that one in the first half. So
but he's still averaging 4.3 for the playoffs.
Because he was terrible in those first 2 games. But tonight he only committed 2 turnovers.
Thank God.
Yeah,
but he played a lot less minutes than he normally does.
Yeah, it was 33 tonight. But the ball was in his hands less as well.
Thank God.
Yeah, I loved the way the Knicks attacked this game. The first quarter was going to be tough and overwhelming. There's no doubt. The crowd is intense, even if it's your own home crowd. It's so you can get pushed off your center because it's so overwhelming. You get caught up in the magnitude of the moment. This is New York City. This is the center of the financial world, and tonight is the center of the sports world. So of course, it can be overwhelming. But I love the way we kind of kept it together in that first quarter, and then
it was ugly.
It was ugly.
17 points each is
17 points. Totally. And then in the second quarter, we held them to 17 points again, but we scored 30. And then the third quarter came out and we created a little more space. But the fourth quarter, that's what we were talking about this earlier. Teams that close quarters strong usually win. And we did it 3 out of the 4 quarters. And that's how we won this game.
Yeah, there's no more third quarter of doom.
Yeah, that's gone. And that I got to say, I think
Josh.
Josh Brunson. Hart and Brunson. I was going to say Brunson first.
Yeah.
I was going to say him first. Yeah.
You have to say Brunson first. Hey, quick shout out to Ashley Inc., my guy Wiz. Thank you. He said, Foxy, the more accurate first game stat is 57% of the first game road teams go on to win the series. The home team skews that stat to 77%. So the 77% was that I said earlier. So thank you, Wiz. Appreciate that correction.
Yeah. We're in a great place. But it doesn't mean anything if we don't win on Sunday.
Yeah, we have
to. The series starts over. If we lose Sunday, series starts totally over.
And
then
you
it's
don't
just a
want
3-game series.
And you can't do that with guys like Donovan. We saw him in the bubble a couple of years ago. Somebody gets crazy, him or Garland. All of that hard work, all of this great joy could go out the window. We got to put our foot on their neck, man, and put them out of their misery.
Jesse says, Randall got a little Draymond in him that way. Sometimes his emotions get the better of him, and it hurts everyone on the team. For the most part, is an edge. I felt that tonight it helped us. I felt that his energy, we rode the positive side of that wave of his energy tonight. I liked.
Well, we scored 10 points, so he did something right, man.
Yeah,
and 13 last game.
Look. I know that we need, this is like the Cavs are a defensive behemoth. So, if you can score 100 points in a playoff game against the Cavs, you're doing a good job. That's
but you said something earlier though, for being that behemoth, they're 25th in rebounding. So even with
we're like number 1
or 3, so, but yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're like
but also
we're tied for second with the Memphis Grizz. So basically we're 46.6. But offensive rebounding, aren't we number 1? Oh no, we're number 2, number 3. Toronto Raptors and the Houston Rockets
but also they're third in defense against 3-point shooting. So if we could just pick up our 3-point shooting, we're gonna dust them, man.
We are. All right, I like that. I think we're going to end it on that. Thank you guys so much for joining us here in this celebration of this incredible, the first time the Knicks have won 2 games in a playoff series since 2013, right?
Feels so good.
Feels so good. And it feels like it's only the beginning. It's only the beginning. We're going to take care of business. I believe in this team. And the beautiful part of it is that the guy that we needed to show up tonight did it. We cannot underplay. Yes, we cannot downplay that. RJ Barrett, it was his ability to put the Cavs defense on their back heels tonight in the first half that helped us be able to stay in the game, take the lead, and then build on that lead. He created the foundation for this offense to be able to build upon it in that second half, and I love that. It may not be RJ the next game. That's the beauty of a deep team. That is the beauty of a deep team. And for all we know, it could be IQ the next game who does it, or it could be Randall. Randall could come out and have a 20-point first quarter.
Hey, we said about RJ was overdue. IQ is overdue for having a huge game. He's really overdue,
yeah.
and he's home.
He had a nice game tonight. Let's not downplay
statistically.
That.
Just meaning he only, he had 6 shots.
He only had 6 shots, 23 minutes, but he hit 4 of his 6 shots.
Exactly.
2 of 3 from the 3-point line, and both those 2 3-pointers he hit were huge at pivotal moments. Did
you like how he looked at the bench when he hit that one? Like, yo,
yeah, and RJ as well too. When he hit him, he looked at the bench like, because they're those benches are talking shit to each other constantly. So it was beautiful to see. Interestingly, Josh Hart led the team in turnovers tonight.
Well, we said earlier at the halftime show that he was really amped up. He was trying to do too much. It's like, nah, man. Just be your normal pest self. Great rebounding and do everything, but don't overdo it, Josh. Just calm down. Trust your other guys on the team.
Every single rotation player on the Knicks tonight was a plus and a plus minus. Every single one. Josh Hart shot 80%. Isaiah Hartenstein shot 60%. Emmanuel Quickley, 66.7%. Jalen Brunson, 55.6%. Mitch Robinson, no surprise, 60%. And RJ Barrett shot 66.7%.
Yeah. What you said earlier, and then having the 2 stars on the other side, their backcourt go 13 for 40.
13 for 40.
Yeah, and also they went 3 for 15 from 3. We'll take that all day long.
All day long. They shot 32%, 32.5% overall. That backcourt. I don't know if we'll be able to do that again, replicate that again, but we keep them around 42%. We can still win. We'll still win.
Yeah.
We'll still win. Oh, man. All right. I highly doubt I'll do a pregame show on Sunday.
Well, it's 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah, it'll be really early in the morning for me here. I'll probably still be in bed watching the game, but I'll definitely be doing a postgame show. Foxy, are you and Keith doing the Sunday show?
We are at 6 p.m. Where's the place to be? Sports Vibe TV at 6 p.m. Hopefully we'll be elated and we'll be talking about us being up 3-1. So check us out. And again, shout out to my guy, Keith.
There you go. Don't forget to check that out.
Best and also Sunday shout out to our guy, JD. Great play-by-play, man. He changed the game since he's been doing play-by-play. The interaction with the chat and just his great, his takes and so shout out to our guy, JD.
Absolutely. He does an awesome job there on
Magnificent.
KFTV. Yeah. I can only watch a little bit because I got to focus on the game, then his voice is in my head, but if I wasn't doing this, I'd be totally watching along with him. And definitely shout out to him. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to all the Knicks content creators.
Yep.
Nick of Time, Lee, Jay Ellis, Ryan, the guys over at Locked On Knicks. If you guys aren't listening to that, I listen to that podcast constantly. Great insight from them. Tommy Beer and EJ Stewart. Yep. Everybody. We're blessed with having so many diverse and interesting commentators and analysts in our universe here with the Knicks family. We're blessed in that way. I just hope that the Knicks keep winning so we can continue.
Yeah, and hopefully in a couple of weeks, the Karma gods will come down and make Dallas go to the 11th pick, and the Knicks get that pick.
Woo! And we barely have even touched upon the draft, but I'm hoping the Knicks, even if we don't end up with the Dallas pick, that we end up acquiring a late first rounder, because I think there might be some interesting guys that might trickle down into that, from 21 to 30 range. That'll be some nice steals, and they're good value because you don't have to pay them that much up front. But we're getting ahead of ourselves because we have a whole postseason to discuss.
We definitely need shooting in our future.
We need shooting. We need shooting and defense. Those two things together.
Or 6'8" or above. No more 6'4" guys. It's against the law to draft.
We have plenty of those. We have plenty of those guys.
We're all full up. Stock. Yeah, stock room is all full up on 6'4" guys.
Yeah,
6'5" guys. We need a 6'8", 7'3" wing that we could have, like you said, and also guys that can shoot. When we were in the playoffs a couple of years ago, we had 4 guys over 40% from 3. Burks and D Rose, and hey, that was a class move, by the way, putting D Rose in, and I love that little assist to Obi for his last hurrah. Yeah. So I'm glad. I don't know how much more he'll get, and I was fooling around with George. I
hope he sees more. I hope we see more D Rose. That means we've blown him out.
And I said to George during the game that I would have lost a whole lot of money if you ever said to me, "Do you think Daquan Jeffries would get any minutes in this series?" I'd say, "Get out of here! What are you, crazy?" I'm glad, but hopefully he'll get a lot more minutes because that means it's a blowout.
Yes, in our favor.
In our favor.
I don't see Thibs ever putting Daquan Jeffries out there in a loss.
Well, maybe if it's a blowout, but I just don't know.
If it's that would be.
I don't think he'll put out D Rose again.
No, not in. Yeah, but it was really nice to see him. He played 2.5 minutes.
Did you see him shake Tibbs' hand? So it's like you hate, seeing guys in the twilight of their career where they're just not the same player anymore.
It's the reality of life. It's the reality of life.
Father Time is undefeated.
Yep. Father Time is undefeated. Some guys do, last longer than others. LeBron Jameses of the world and stuff. But generally, Father Time is undefeated. But it was a great moment to see him there. The Garden loved it. The crowd loved it. It was a nice way to celebrate that win, seeing him out there. Beautiful way. And Craig says RJ for president. Let's go. Shout out to the chat. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on Into the Knicks-Verse. We hit that thumbs up button for us. If you like the stream, share it with any Knicks fans that you have, that that aren't tuned into the Knicks-Verse. It'd be great to share it. And drop your comments. If you're watching this on replay later on, drop your comments. We read them all. And what's up, Miles? Miles needs like a little Knicks jersey.
Yo,
yeah, baby.
And believe me, he's a dog on defense too. He takes after his daddy.
That's great. All right, well, Foxy, thank you so much for joining me.
I love hanging with you.
This was great. I really appreciate you coming on. It wasn't we didn't really plan it necessarily, but this was awesome. Always your insight is phenomenal. Your takes. The way you look at the game is just truly something that we should. I appreciate it. I did before I even started doing this channel. I was listening to you, and I really appreciate all your insight. Even when I don't agree with it, it makes me think about things in a different way, and that's the beauty of it all. We don't have to agree always, but it doesn't mean that you can't still take something interesting from discussion, even if you don't agree with it. And I love.
But we're kindred spirits. That the basis of all of our takes, though, are research.
Absolutely right. It's not like whims. We back stuff up based upon our research, like you said, our data, and our analysis of it all.
We're definitely data-driven people.
Absolutely. All right. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Francisco, Amazement, Jesse. Who we got? Craig, Edward Walker. Who else we got? Big L.
My girl, Geraldine MacGyver.
Geraldine's in here. I didn't see her.
My favorite girl and my favorite bowler.
Manchild. Shout out to Manchild.
Jesse
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
Was a great night. This is a night to celebrate. You guys have fun. I mean, I was kind of late there in New York. It's about 1:30. Hey, this last call is 4 a.m. in New York. Get out there. Let's go. You too.
Not in my house. It's 5 o'clock all day long, all night
Roxy,
long.
I'm gonna light up a bowl.
Me
in
too.
Celebration of this.
Tonight is a deep purple punch night.
Deep purple punch night. Awesome. We got Palace Shenanigans in the house. She came in at the last second. Oh, Gerald, I see Geraldine now. What's up? Shout out to you. Shout out to you, sister. This is look. We've been doing this for a long time, all of us together. We're finally on the plus side of something. Up 2-1. And the next game is at
soon to be 3-1.
Soon to be 3-1. All right. Shout out to you, the city that never sleeps.
Yeah.
We will see you around the Knicks-Verse.
Hit that bass.